Something must have changed at Apple recently because we are about 2 years away from the 20th anniversary of the iPhone, 18 years of iPhone releases. And during all that time, Apple has never attempted anything like this before. And of course, I'm talking about the iPhone Air. I find it kind of almost hard to believe at this point that Apple's most popular product, the iPhone, which makes up about like half of their overall business, the product they sell the most of, right? Like they built, modern Apple is built off the name of the iPhone. They have never tried making a premium thin separate device before up until this point. And I gotta be honest with you, going into this event, I was trying to keep my expectations in check. I think everyone can agree the iPhone 16, even at the time, it was kind of exciting with all the AI hype and we saw all these AI features. It was like, okay, let's give Apple a chance here. Let's see how all these AI features come to fruition, right? Well, they didn't. Like Apple's AI features, I would say, are mediocre at best. And the most exciting AI features got delayed and they still aren't here. So going into this event, I wanted to keep myself in check. I wanted to go, okay, don't get too overhyped. Don't, read into the leaks and rumors, and let's wait for confirmation to see how things pan out. And when I first saw that reveal of the iPhone Air, I gotta say, it was probably one of the best iPhone reveals in a long time. And I hate to say it, I got hyped. The iPhone Air looks great. Again, that reveal video was really good, even if they did have a discount Johnny Ive doing the narration for it. But yeah, that is such a good looking phone. Like those 3D renders of the leaks of the iPhone Air did not do it justice. When you finally saw that full video reveal, the shiny polished titanium frame floating there, the fingertip touching that very thin 5.6 millimeter design, the thinnest iPhone ever made, I was just like, wow, that looks impressive. And I think Apple starting the keynote off with the Steve Jobs quote saying, design isn't just how it looks, it's also how it works, was kind of pointing to this because I think one of the biggest concerns people had about Apple making a thinner phone again is that it wouldn't be durable, that it would bend, that it would have to sacrifice in some way. And I'm not saying there aren't any sacrifices for the Air, but there's a lot less than I thought, and durability is definitely one of them. Now, the titanium frame being a part of this design and no longer being on the Pro models is very interesting, and it makes sense. The iPhone Air is being pitched as that premium design, and that is what it is, right? Like titanium, it's a more premium material. It looks really nice. It looks flashy. So let's put that on our like kind of designer phone, the one that's pushing the boundaries. And I think not only does it make for a really good looking phone, but Apple said this is going to be their most durable phone ever. So not only is it not weak, it's not gonna bend, it's their most durable phone ever. They have the ceramic shield that they have on the front of the phone. They're also bringing that to the back of the phone. So it's gonna be more scratch resistant. It's gonna be less prone to cracking. And I think that is a great thing to lead with here. So again, we have our thinnest phone ever, and it's also our most durable phone ever. But then they just follow that up with, there's also kind of no compromises by going for this thinner phone. You have a full 6.5 inch display, which is a pretty big display. You have 120 hertz, and you have the 3000 nit display, so full brightness, right? And then the chip inside of it is also their most powerful iPhone chip ever. So again, you have the marketing of, this is the thinnest iPhone ever. It's our most durable iPhone ever. It's also our most powerful iPhone ever. So the full A19 Pro chip in the thinnest iPhone ever. And I love how, again, going back to design is how it works. We've been seeing like this leak of this camera bump. I think Apple called it like a camera plateau. That's like the official name for it. And we've been wondering, well, okay, it's kind of funny because why does the iPhone Air have this camera plateau that only has one camera on the back of it? Why does it need to go across the entire top of the phone? It doesn't really make sense, but that's kind of like the great thing about watching these Apple keynotes. They get a chance to explain their design. And the reason why that camera bump is so big on the Air when there's no additional cameras is because that's where the whole like phone sits inside. Like the whole body of the Air is battery, and then where the chip is stored is actually inside of that camera bump. So it's a great use of design because when you have a phone that thin, every bit of space for battery is super important. And then where are you gonna put the chip? Well, let's put it in the camera bump. So yes, I think the biggest compromise with the iPhone Air is it just has a single 48 megapixel camera. I'm still not sure how that will affect sales. I think most people just kind of use the main wide angle camera, although the ultra wide camera is kind of very popular right now with social media. So I'm not sure how that will ultimately affect sales. But again, I think most people use the main camera. The main camera is good. It has the 2x zoom mode. So that's the right camera lens to have on the back. But I think the biggest question for everyone about the iPhone Air is because it has a thin design, how is that battery life gonna hold up? When I looked at like the official ratings on Apple's iPhone Compare page, the iPhone Air, apparently, again, take this with a grain of salt, has the same battery life rating as the iPhone 16 Plus. So the same battery size, or not the battery size, but the same battery life apparently as the iPhone 16 Plus, which doesn't make sense to me, honestly. But apparently they were able to squeeze like a pretty big 3,200 milliamp hour battery into that thin design. That's not like a giant battery, but for how thin that phone is, it's pretty big. So maybe the battery life concerns won't be as great as we initially thought. Yes, battery life is always going to be a major deciding factor when buying a phone, but it might not be as big of a deal as you think, especially when you have accessories that can keep your iPhone charged all day, or rather multiple days, like this Ugreen MagFlow magnetic power bank that I have actually been using to keep my iPhone 16 Pro Max charged while on the battery draining iOS 26 beta. Yes, this is a wireless, fast charging 25 watt Qi 2 charger that can charge my iPhone 16 Pro Max to 50% in just 30 minutes wirelessly. It's also the only power bank you need because it combines wireless charging with a physical USB-C cable that can deliver 30 watts of fast charging. And you can even charge the MagFlow from this built-in cable, which is so convenient, and it is strong enough to use as a carrying handle. And of course, the magnet is strong enough to hold up your iPhone. There's even an extra USB-C port so you can charge 3 devices at once, perfect for your iPhone, your AirPods, and an Apple Watch. With a big 10,000 milliamp hour capacity, you can charge an iPhone 16 Pro around 2 full charges. So if you're worried about battery life with the iPhone 17 Air or any iPhone, check out the link in the description to pick up a MagFlow charger. And thank you to Ugreen for sponsoring this video. I think the hard sell for the iPhone Air is the starting price. And it actually started at way more than the leak said, or way more than I thought they would price it at. It's starting at $1,000, which is the same price as what the Pro phones used to start at. So Apple is basically saying that this is a Pro phone for people that care about the looks of their phone and for people that want the bleeding edge of design. But I think this is kind of smart because what the iPhone Air allowed Apple to do was to make the iPhone 17 Pro heavier, bigger, thicker, look kind of more ugly, I guess, more utilitarian. And that's what we got with the iPhone 17 design. Now, I actually kind of like the iPhone 17 Pro design. It's grown on me a bit. The idea that they're using like a whole unibody aluminum frame, I think is gonna be like really good. Like it's gonna look premium. It's gonna feel really good in the hands. I think it's gonna be like a really cool looking phone. I love that orange color, but it is bigger. It is thicker than before. Even though it's aluminum, it's actually heavier than the 16 Pro, and aluminum is lighter than titanium. So what the Air does is it allows that iPhone 17 Pro, it doesn't have to focus on being the nice phone anymore, right? Like in the past, this iPhone 16 Pro was basically just like a nicer version of the iPhone 17. It still had to look shiny, premium. It still had to look like a fashion forward phone, I guess. But now with the iPhone 17 Pro, that's not really the concern. The concern with the iPhone 17 Pro, or the philosophy for the iPhone 17 Pro design, is, hey, let's make a thicker phone. Let's make it as powerful as possible. Let's pack in as much battery as possible. Let's add in the best cameras. Let's add in vapor chamber cooling. All that stuff is being put into the iPhone 17 Pro now because now they don't really have to compromise with also having like a really flashy, nice design. Now, I think the reason this all works, because I think if you're looking at an iPhone 17 Air at $1,000 and you're looking at the iPhone 17 Pro starting at $1,100. I mean, let's be honest. These are expensive phones. Times are tough. People do not want to spend $1,000 on an iPhone 17 Air. But I think the reason why this works so well, and the reason why I'm actually not mad about this lineup this year, and the thing that really clicked to me was the iPhone 17. And this was the first phone they announced, so this was no surprise here, right? The reason why Apple gets to make the iPhone 17 Air so expensive, the reason why they get to make the iPhone 17 Pro thicker and more expensive, right, is because the iPhone 17 exists. And the iPhone 17 just now gets so many features that used to be exclusive to the Pro models. And it starts at 256 gigabytes of storage while staying at the same $800 price point. So this iPhone 17 is probably one of the best valued mainstream iPhones we have seen from Apple maybe since like the iPhone 11. Like that, it's been that long since like we've seen like that good of a deal on like the mainstream iPhone. Like it is getting the A19 chip. It's not the Pro, but hey, a new A19 chip. It's not sticking with the old A18 chip. And it is getting a 120 hertz ProMotion display. It's an always-on display. That is the main feature that people have wanted from the Pro models. It gets that new brighter display at 3000 nits of brightness, anti-reflective coating. The camera systems, both the main camera and the ultra-wide camera, are 48 megapixels. It has the new 18 megapixel center stage front-facing camera where it can kind of like reposition selfies all by itself using AI. I know they used AI like once in that whole keynote and it was for that feature, but that looked like a pretty good feature. Even though they've been using that center stage camera like on the Mac and iPad forever and they never described it as AI. But of course, for the iPhone, they gotta say AI, right? But yeah, that looks like a really good feature. And basically, all like the high-end Pro level features that used to be exclusive to the Pro, well, they came down to the iPhone 17. So now you have the normal iPhone with all these Pro level features, all like these great features at the same price point. And that is really the magic of this lineup. It's that the iPhone 17 is such a good phone this year that it allows Apple to experiment. It allows them to make a super slim iPhone Air that maybe might compromise on battery life, has one camera, but gives you a super slim, premium, polished design, probably one of like the best looking iPhones ever. And then it also allows the iPhone 17 Pro to not be that fashion statement phone. It allows it to just focus on being the best Pro phone it can be, being something that is kind of more utilitarian, focus on having the raw horsepower, the raw camera specs. And that is what I like about this iPhone lineup. It's trying something new. We're getting different iPhone models. Every iPhone looks different this year. And the designs in the Air and the Pro model are unlike anything we have seen in an iPhone before. It really feels like Apple is innovating again in the iPhone lineup. This is going to be a really interesting strategy. I think it will pay off for Apple, but I'm also not entirely sure, given that every other time they've tried to introduce like this third iPhone into the lineup, it kind of hasn't worked. But maybe this year, they might actually have something. So that is my initial thoughts on the iPhone 17 announcement, the iPhone 17 lineup. Again, forgive me if my thoughts were a little scrambled in this video. I know there's no script. I'm just going off the top of my head here, and just wanted to give you my raw reaction to it. But yeah, I'm really excited to try the iPhone 17 Air, try and make it my main phone, I think, right? But I gotta be honest though, the 17 Pro, it had a lot of features I wanted, so I don't know. It's gonna be a hard choice for me. I'm still making up my mind. But let me know, what do you think of the iPhone 17 lineup and which one do you plan on buying? As always, if you like the video, make sure to give me a like. There's gonna be a lot more videos coming soon, so stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.